This morning, just moments ago, John Robert Bolton II pled guilty in federal court to the unlawful retention of national defense information. According to the terms of the plea agreement, Mr. Bolton faces a maximum sentence of up to 5 years in prison, followed by a term of up to 3 years of supervised release. He will also pay a fine of $2.25 million and will forfeit his pension under the HIS Act. As National Security Advisor to the President of the United States, Mr. Bolton had access to and was responsible for safeguarding the most sensitive national defense information, including classified material. Mr. Bolton knew how to handle classified information, where it should be stored, how it should be stored, and with whom he could share that information. He also knew the damage to national security that could be caused by mishandling that sensitive information. Nevertheless, as Mr. Bolton just admitted, he put our national security at grave risk in violation of the law. Our system of classified information is designed to protect sensitive information that would jeopardize national security if mishandled. And the national defense information at issue in this case was classified at the highest classification levels. The document in count 12, for example, revealed intelligence about an adversary's plans for an attack conducted against U.S. forces in another country. It contained human intelligence using sensitive sources and methods, and it discussed a covert action program. As Mr. Bolton admitted, he shared more than 1,000 pages of information about his day-to-day activities as the National Security Advisor, including information related to the national defense, with 2 individuals who neither had the security clearances nor the need to know that information.
Wow. Just wow. We got a lot going on today. President Trump is due up any minute. I've got some news for you, but that news is simply amazing. So we just found out that John Bolton took a deal. He pled, which means there's probably a lot of people in Washington right now around the Beltway who got some severe sphincter tightening. It's crazy. And if you listen as they read through those charges that he allocated or will have to allocate in terms of accepting the plea deal, he's in serious trouble. First of all, he's going to have to pay $2.5 million in cash as a fine. That's crazy. I can't. Number one, I didn't know John Bolton was walking around with that kind of scratch. $2.5 million. He's going to be facing a 5-year prison sentence. I doubt he does little, if any, time, depending on what information he gave them. And then finding out what he did, how he was giving all this military, spy information, just complete espionage. I don't know how they didn't go all the way and just go for traitor, because that's pretty much what it sounds like to me. He went all the way. And so now we're getting a bigger picture of how things were over the last, I would say, 10 years. And we now are beginning to also see, and I'm sure many of them are beginning to know, everything Obama orchestrated, Clapper, Brennan, Page, all of them. What did they do with President Trump? Now here we are in 2026, and we are now just getting to the point where all this information is coming out. It's absolutely stunning. But the media, they don't want to talk about it. It's no big deal anymore. It's old news. Don't worry about it. We got the next flavor of the month to happen. All this fraud. Nope, don't want to talk about it. Yeah, it was before. We want to focus on the Haitians. We got to keep the Haitians in America. That's the most important thing in the world right now. And I'm sure we're going to see the rebirth of Epstein. because they don't want to focus on anything that happened over the last couple years. And now on top of all that, the big cherry on top, which we're going to talk about in a second, is this scourge of communism, where people on the left don't seem to understand how they're going to deal with it. One of the things I'm going to tell you about this communist manifesto that's being executed right in front of us is some of you guys may be my age, some of you guys may be older. And the problem I see we're going to have is I don't think enough people are taking this seriously. No, if you're not watching me or another podcast or looking on X or something, a lot of people don't really know what's happening. A lot of people don't really care what's happening. It's not in their backyard. Yeah, I got to go to, do this or do that. And they're not paying attention, which is what they're counting on. It happened in New York City. Less than 7 or 8% of the people actually voted these people in, and now they're going to Washington. And it's like a Pac-Man thing. And there's no doubt in my mind that we are facing a huge threat, and it's a silent threat, and people aren't paying attention. It's silent, it's scheming, it's nefarious. I want to show you something. What's his name? Mamdani posted today. This is probably one of the worst things I've seen because it's so easy to see, but it's so easy to overlook. He posted this today. I want you to see this. You are cordially invited to celebrate July 4th with us. That's it. July 4th. But what is July 4th in New York? New York, it's 100,000 free tickets to 4th of July fireworks. We're giving away 100,000 free tickets to the 4th of July fireworks. The lottery opens on whatever day, closes on June 29th. That's it. And then you go to this link, and let me see if I can open this. You go to this link here, and what do you notice isn't there? There's not a single mention on this page. None. Not a single mention of the word America. There's nothing about independence. Not even a flag. We're being invaded or have been invaded. They are winning battles. They may have indeed conquered our biggest city, and they're not going to stop. And you just have to wonder, what is it going to take for America to wake up? And what I mean wake up is we have to do exactly what they're doing. And we have to do that even better. I know that sounds like a lot of work and it's scary, but that's what they're doing. They are so committed to destroying this country. They are absolutely balls to the wall, all in, committed to destroying America. And I just wonder, based on the results we saw in New York, are Americans that committed? Have Americans become vulnerable? Are we prey? Are we prey to an enemy, and I will say that, an enemy that looks at us and says, we can take these people. They're stupid, they're lazy, they're ignorant. They don't even recognize that they're in a war. You can't fight something you don't acknowledge that you're in. And I would hate for you to wake up, I know, someday in November and go, what do you mean they took over my town? And so now, 5 months away, if you care, and that's a whole nother question that only you can answer. If you care, you had better put together your battle plan or get together with some other people and put together a battle plan on how you're going to make sure that you Mamdani-proof your town, your school board, your House of Representatives, your local, your state senators. How are you going to make sure? Because it's going to happen. They have a definitive plan. They have been organizing. You've been hearing that over and over and over. Organizing, organizing, organizing. They took it as a challenge to figure out how can we get together and destroy this place they call America. Today, I'm seeing so many of our Congress people lining up, having press conferences, the media chasing them around so that they can just keep saying, you know, the Haitians yesterday, we got to do something about the Haitians. I'm like, do you know there's Americans that need your help, right? You understand that there's lots of Americans out here that would love to have that same sort of focus. Nope, nobody's talking about them. They're not talking about you. They don't care. They have taken so many people in this country for granted that now they just, no big deal. Let's worry about the Haitians, our brothers and sisters in the Haitian community. Oh, let's talk about our brothers and sisters in the trans community. Oh, let's talk about our brothers and sisters in this community and that community. But what about the American community? We are coming up on the 4th of July, our 250th birthday, and these people don't care about you. They're completely indifferent. And the thing that's changed that I've noticed is that they don't care if you know. They no longer are hiding it. In fact, they're making sure you know. They're even speaking Arabic in city council meetings. There's no more baseball, apple pie, Americana. They don't even want to acknowledge it. How can we let this happen? Well, I want to show you something before President Trump comes on. Hopefully I can get through this. But listen to this.
Communism is so often described as an ideology or a belief that exists somewhere other than in the United States. Let me ask you, sir, just how serious a threat to our national security are these communist subversive activities in the United States today?
Well, I think they're serious. I think it's a matter that we should continue to give great care and attention to. We should support the laws which the United States has passed in order to protect us from those who would destroy us from within. We should sustain the Department of Justice in its efforts and the FBI, and we should be continually alert. I think if the United States is maintaining a strong society here in the United States, I think that we can meet any internal threat. The major threat is external and will continue.
Wow. Remembering who that Republican presidential candidate, oh, I'm sorry, he wasn't Republican. He was a Democrat. He's a Democrat who most Democrats, especially my parents, thought he was the best Democrat president ever, John F. Kennedy. And he could no longer run in today's Democrat Party. He would no longer be accepted. He would be looked. They don't even like Hakeem Jeffries. They don't even like Kamala. Forget JFK. Because JFK knew these people were a threat. We got to do something. We can't let this enemy from within continue to rise. So they can't even allow those people who think that way. No, we need really, really dumbed down, crazy people who absolutely hate America. That's our model. That's our business model. That's who we want to cater to. Where everybody with the sane mind goes, this is an enemy from within that will take us apart.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.
So in case, I like to take credit for certain things, but at this point, I can't take credit for that because that was posted today by President Trump. And I'm like, I got to show this to people. I got to show them this glaring wake-up call so that, you can get some vitamin America stuck into your veins here.
It conducts the Cold War in short. With a wartime discipline, no democracy would ever hope or wish to match. Nevertheless, every democracy recognizes the necessary restraints of national security. And the question remains whether those restraints need to be more strictly observed if we are to oppose this kind of attack as well as outright invasion.
And when I can show you the post that President Trump put up because he put that up without comment. That's all he put up. Just that video that you just watched right there, nothing else. Just to let people contemplate what they're facing. Just so people understand what exactly we're up against. We have a serious question that we need to ask each other, our friends, our families, our coworkers, a question every American needs to be asking. Are we openly seeing an attempt at insurrection? Are we openly seeing an attempt at possibly secession? Right here in the United States, it just appears to me that in New York City, under this idiot named Mandami, he is brazenly defying the laws of the United States. And he's doing it with a little smile, with defiance, with his ideology. It's absolutely crazy because one of the things that I always, said to myself was I can get in my own trouble and I will admit to my own mistakes. I will admit to my own faults because I did them. But you're looking at somebody in New York right now whose religion is based on deception. It is okay to lie to you if it helps us get to where we want to go. Not sure you understand that. There's a word for it. I can't even pronounce it, but they're actually said, do whatever you need to do, lie about whatever you want to lie about, as long as it furthers what we need. When I say we, you know who I'm talking about, the a la snack bar people. So when they ask these people, are you a communist? It's almost like when you see in the movies when, the drug dealer's like, you a cop? And see, at least police are supposed to say, yeah, I'm a cop. They even though they want to lie, they don't want to set people up. At least, that's what they're told. But not these people. They will look you right in the eye. Hey, are you a commie? Listen.
You're going to appear in all sorts of people's ads. All sorts of Republicans' ads to say, this is what you're going to get if you vote for the Democrats, a communist.
I think that framing is one that I've been very proud to be able to say I don't respond to, one in which...
What do you mean? I am proud to say I don't respond to. You were asked to your face, are you a communist? I'm not even going to respond. You just did. You just did. You're being deceitful. You're lying. One of the things that, people had problems with the so-called, there was a whole magazine about, I think it was called Out. And the magazine was based upon outing people who wouldn't admit to the world that they were gay. And so people were pissed off, gay people were pissed off that, hey, what do you mean you won't tell everybody that you're gay? And so they had a magazine, and this magazine would endeavor to go out there and say, hey, Fred over there, no, he's gay. Oh, Susie, yep, she's gay. And it didn't matter whether you liked it or not, they called you out. I don't even know if that magazine is still there anymore because now they're all flamboyant and running around. There's no shame. We've gotten to a point where they had to have a magazine to out people who didn't want anyone to know, don't want to. Now it's like, hey, I don't care, you know. But here, the communists, I don't even want to respond. Why? Why are you not proud of what you're doing? See, that's one of the problems. Is this President Trump coming out already? Wait 1 second here. Hold on, in the middle of me talking. He might be walking out early. Yeah, here he comes. All right. I've been having problems with my feed, so if it goes down, don't worry. I have 2 feeds. President Trump is walking out.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Ralph for the introduction. He's a great guy and friend of mine for a long time. And thank you to all of the true American patriots of Faith and Freedom Coalition. You've been with me from the beginning, and pretty much like nobody else, I don't think can top you. You were just great right from the beginning. You got it. You understood what we had to do, and we got it done, and we're continuing to get it done at levels that nobody's seen before. With the help of many people in this room, 18 months ago, we won the most consequential election victory in American history. Winning all 7 swing states, the Electoral College by 312 to 226, the popular vote, and 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525. That's called a big victory. The Faith and Freedom Coalition was with us every step of the way. You knocked on 97 million doors. It's true. Ralph actually told me 10 million, so I had checked. It was 9.7 million. You reached 18 million voters. Think of that, voters of faith. You sent 28 million text messages and made 10 million phone calls to help us win a mandate like no other administration in modern history. It was a mandate like we have not seen before. And together we saved our country, and we saved religious freedom in America. We saved religious. It was going down. And you've always stood with me, and I will always stand with you. I'll always remember it. I'll always remember how hard you worked and your spirit. I especially want to thank Pastor Paula White, who's with us. Paula, wherever you may be. Thank you, Paula. Great person. Director of the White House Faith Office, Jenny Korn. Terrific. Jenny, thank you very much. Bishop Kevin. And you've always stood with me, and I will always stand with you. I'll always remember it. I'll always remember how hard you worked and your spirit. I especially want to thank Pastor Paula White, who's with us. Paula, wherever you may be. Thank you, Paula. Great person. Director of the White House Faith Office, Jenny Korn. Terrific. Jenny, thank you very much. Bishop Kevin Koberis. Where is Kevin? Thank you, Kevin. Good job. Nice looking man. President of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, Pastor Sam Rodriguez, who's been with me from the beginning. This place is crowded. I remember this place not so long ago. Hopefully, we'll have a little more pleasant. We're going to have a little more pleasant experience. I remember this room very well. A friend of mine who has been just incredible, Dr. Alveda King. Doctor, thank you. Thank you, darling. She's been with me also from the beginning. So many from the beginning. You can tell so much. The ones from the beginning, I don't know, they tend to be the ones, they're the ones they stay, and they stay like nobody. And we appreciate all of those people. An ambassador to the United Nations who's doing a really great job. Mike Waltz, he's around here someplace. Mike, doing a really good job. And just over 1 week from now, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, marking 2.5 centuries of glorious American freedom. And thanks to the extraordinary work and incredible devotion of patriots like those people in this very, very crowded ballroom, today I can proudly report that on the edge of our 250th year, America is back. It's back. It's back. I believe better than ever before. And I'm especially pleased to say that, likewise, religion is back in our country, bigger and stronger than it has been in many, many years. Been reading all of those reports. Religion's really, it's going up. If that were stock, we'd be very, very rich, all of us. It's been great to watch. And as I've said before, to be a great nation, you have to have religion and you have to have God in your nation. If you don't have that, it just doesn't seem to work out, does it? And we have it. We have religion and we have God now. Remember when I first started, 2016, they wanted to take the Christmas out of Christmas. Remember that? We ended that little drive, but we ended a lot of other drives too. From the very beginning of our country, American greatness has been forged by people of faith, and the very first settlers who set foot upon this new world at Jamestown got off their ship, raised up a cross, and bowed down to the Lord in prayer. It was faith that strengthened the Minutemen and who stood up at Lexington Green and Concord Bridge in Philadelphia 250 years ago. Next week, our founders invoked the Creator 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. 4 times. I wasn't mentioned once. I'm very upset. Not once. Faith pushed the pioneers to journey west. Faith led Americans to abolish slavery, and faith built this country into the most exceptional nation in the history of the world. It was going very badly a couple of years ago, very badly, but it's back really strong. But we have to be very careful because bad things are happening. Can I watch what's happening? And we're going to be discussing that in just a minute. Americans have always deeply believed in the promise of Christ's words in the Gospel of Matthew. With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible, right? All things. That's why as we prepare to enter the 250th year last month, tens of thousands of patriots came together on our National Mall, and we officially rededicated America as one nation under God. And we're not changing. We're not changing. And we always have been, and we always will be. We're not going to let them take it away. But as we celebrate this anniversary, we must also remember that our country could have been marking this occasion under very different circumstances. The last administration carried out a reign of persecution and repression against Christians and people of faith like America has never seen before. It's terrible. They turned a nation founded on freedom for believers into a place where Catholics were targeted by the FBI, where pro-life grandmothers were put in jail for praying, and where members of our military were thrown out of the armed forces for their religious beliefs. The radicals responsible for these offenses would have loved nothing more than to mark America's 250th anniversary by driving God from our public square once and for all. They wanted to do that. I don't know how anybody could vote for these people. They were so bad, they were so evil, and yet in many ways incompetent, certainly incompetent on policy, open borders, transgender for everybody, men and women's sports, just grossly incompetent ideologies, and so many more. But they did not get that chance because they lost an election in a landslide, and we won an election in a landslide. And while I am in the White House, I will defend Christians and all Americans of faith 100%. You have it 100%, and you've seen it already. So upon taking office, I created the first ever Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty, led by Texas Lieutenant Governor, a great guy. I don't know if he's here. I know he's coming over to my office in a little while, a thing called the Oval Office, beautiful office. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and my friend, Dr. Ben Carson. I don't know, so many people in this room, I don't know if they're here, they may be here, but they're two great people. And later today at the White House, they will present me with their official report and recommendations to ensure that America continues to uphold the first right in our Constitution, and that's religious liberty. We have to uphold religious liberty, most important thing. On day one of my administration, I ended the weaponization of law enforcement against religious believers. You know that. I pardoned the Christians Joe Biden threw in jail for saying prayers. He threw him in jail. You know, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. The guy's grossly incompetent. But he was surrounded by very smart, in some cases brilliant, lunatics. I got rid of the sinister Johnson Amendment so that pastors can speak the truth at their pulpits. We created the very, very popular White House Faith Office, first time that's ever happened. And I set up an official Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian biases. Anti-Christian bias, who would think? At a high level, too, although it's fading, going to fade fast. That task force just produced a new documentary revealing the abuses of religious freedom that they uncovered. It's called By Dawn's Early Light, and it's out right now, and it's really supposed to be, I have not seen it, I cannot tell a lie, I have not seen it, but I've heard about it, and I hear it's great, and I will see it, I hope soon. I also signed, I hope soon. I also signed a historic executive order to combat the scourge of anti-Semitism in our country. And we reinstated the warriors who were thrown out of our military by the Biden vaccine mandates and restored them to their former ranks. And we let them back with full pay. Is that good? We want to cut costs, but we figured we have to take care of them. And we're protecting to harass and intimidate people in their places of worship not so long ago. And to help parents send their children to schools that share their values, I signed the largest expansion of school choice in the history of our country, including in Texas. And in my direction, the Department of Education issued new guidance protecting the right to prayer in public schools. That was a big thing. And these are all things that we were, you know, they fought us very strongly, very, very strongly. Hard to believe they'd fight us on that, but we had to fight the good battle, but we won every time. We slashed federal funding for any school that pushes transgender insanity on our youth. We expanded the Mexico City policy to stop taxpayer dollars from being used to promote radical gender ideology around the world. Radical gender ideology, it is. I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. That wasn't too tough. That was sort of an easy one, but, you know, we have a man running in Texas who thinks there are 6 genders. I don't know what. He's going to have to discuss that with us. Can you believe it? 6 genders. And we officially banned the chemical and surgical mutilization of our children. And now we have to pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American elections. Have to pass it. Hard to believe, right? Hard to believe that we even have to fight for this. We have to fight for everything. Nothing comes easy. Nothing. All voters must show photo ID. Not so bad, right? All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Is that so hard? You're fighting the Democrats and a few Republicans who are doing a tremendous disservice to this country. We have a few Republicans that are fighting it. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. You should call her and tell her to get on the ball. She'll never win another election, I can tell you. She's got to vote. It's called the Save America Act. It's voter ID, ideally photo ID, right? So you can look and you can say, oh, that person's okay, or for lots of reasons, that person is not the same person. We want proof of citizenship, and we want No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, and military deployment or travel. We'll be very judicious. Look what's happening in California, where the ballots still aren't in. They're still not. Can you believe it? Weeks afterwards, you know what's happening? They're cheating. The kid won, or he was certainly in the top two. I don't know him. I never met him. Spencer Pratt. And he went away quietly. We didn't go away quietly, but he shouldn't go away quietly. He should protest because it was, in my very strong opinion, that was a rigged election. That kid should be in the runoffs. The woman who edged him out after like a long time, days and days. And then you'd hear reports, Spencer Pratt is not doing so well, even though he was strongly in the lead. And then you hear, Spencer Pratt has a 20% chance of being in the runoff. I said, they just rigged the election. And then you hear that a woman who nobody ever heard of is in the runoff, not him. And then they tried to hurt Steve Hilton, too. And I called the U.S. attorney and I said, you have to look into this because Steve Hilton did great. He's running for governor. And you could see it. The election was there. He was doing great. Then day after day, you'd hear reports about vote counting. They go on for weeks. You know, Colombia just had an election. The country of Colombia, 30 million voters. And I endorsed. I'm endorsed. We do so well with endorsements, like almost 100% success. But I endorsed somebody running, El Tigre. El Tigre. I liked him. You know why? Because he likes me. I don't know. He used to talk about Trump. I like President Trump. I don't know. How can you not let? So I endorsed him. I didn't know. He was in way down the list. He was not going to win. No chance of winning. I endorsed him and he won. Did he just announce he won? But think of it. They had 30 million votes. By 9:30 in the evening, every single vote was counted. And there were no complaints. He won. Every vote was counted. Here we are in California. They're going to go for weeks and weeks and weeks. And you know what they do? They cheat. How many votes do we need? How many votes? That's why they take their time. How many votes do we need? Okay, here they are. Honestly, it's terrible. We're a third world country with elections. And we will also enshrine a permanent law that says very easily and succinctly, no men in women's sports and no transgender surgery for our children. Never forget, if the radical left ever gets the chance, they will bring all of this insanity right back at levels that you've never seen before. You will never have seen anything like it if they ever get their chance. And they're trying like hell. I call them the Democrats. I exchanged an E for a U. The Democrats. And it's trending number one, the word Democrat. I just can't believe I didn't think of it 9 years ago. I should have thought. The Democrats, they are horrible. They want to resume the transgender mutilation of our children. They want to restart the war on Christians and churches. And as you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. I'd give free rent. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, you don't have to pay any rent. From now on, anybody wants a house, don't worry about it. Just pick the house you want. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. It always does. So easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. There will be no nothing. You'll be a third world inhabitant in every way, and everyone will suffer or die. You'll suffer or die. That's what happens. For thousands of years it's been happening by different names. Thousands of years. I'm telling you, I'd be the greatest communist in history. It would be so easy. You wouldn't have to work. You could stay home. The problem is a couple of years go by, the whole place collapses. Always does, always has. But I'm sorry to say, but assassinations of those who oppose them is a very important element of their ideology. Assassination's a big deal for them. They're animals. They're animals. In many cases, they're not smart, but in some cases, they are. It's easy for them to get followers because they make promises that they know they can't keep, and the Democrats aren't fighting back. That's why they're dumb. They're not fighting back. They're afraid. I watch Schumer. He's afraid to fight. I watch guys that are pretty normal and guys that we oppose. They're afraid to fight. The Democrats have taken a tremendous turn left, and many of these people, I looked at some of the people that got elected the other night in New York. These are in many ways stupid people, in some ways and intellectually probably pretty smart, but they're people that want to destroy our country. They hate our country. They hate our people. They hate the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is in big trouble because this isn't stopping with New York. This is going on. It's too easy to get elected, giving everything away. Too easy to get elected. Very dangerous, but you'll soon have nothing left. That's the problem. In many ways, they're allowing them to just go their own way, do your own. We don't want to take a chance on saying anything bad because we're afraid we're going to lose our jobs if we do. They're afraid they're going to lose their election if they even think about saying anything bad about this new breed of sick people. They're not smart enough or tough enough to fight the plague that's happening. It's happening right before your very eyes. If they fought them the way they fight Republicans or the way they fight me, they'd be victorious. They didn't beat us, but they'd be victorious against the communists. But they don't have the courage to do so. So they're turning communists themselves. It's becoming a communist party. These are not social democrats. These are hardcore, godless communists. They're godless communists. All communists are godless. They don't believe in God. This is the most serious threat to our country since its existence, in my opinion, 250 years ago. This is a major threat to our country. It isn't something that's easily solved, but with a little love and help, some hard work, because it's ironic we're celebrating a very important birthday, our most important birthday so far, 250 years. And instead of speaking about Christ, and instead of speaking about freedom and victories of all different kinds, we're speaking about yet another threat to the foundations of America. These ruthless communists will attack all religions, but in particular Christianity. They always do. They're after Christianity more than any other religion. It seems to be more and more throughout the world, maybe because we're doing so well. I don't know. Maybe if we weren't doing well. But you see the numbers, how they're growing, how the churches are filling up. It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, look, it happens to be during my presidency, so I don't mind taking credit for it. I'm very proud. But a lot of great things are happening. All communist countries attack religions violently. It's part of their deal. As you know, we recently struck Nigeria and largely ended the slaughter of great Christian populations. They have a great Christian population. They were being butchered. Thousands and thousands of people were being killed. Children, women, old people, just being slaughtered, hatched to death. They know that if they go further, the attack will be far greater, and that they don't want to really get involved anymore so much. You know, we hit them very hard. We knocked out their leader. We knocked out their second leader and their third leader. Sounds a little bit like Iran, actually. That's all about a different cause that we have to do, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Can't let it happen. So I'm saving Christians throughout the world, even though we are not in those various countries where you read about this. But they'd like to make our country just like those countries. That's where they started. They started right where we are right now. But I'm saving them by hitting these terrorists very violently and very hard. We're hitting them very hard by the greatest weapons on earth, taking them out. We know where they are. We hunt them down and we take them out. Think of it. They go into a village and they just kill everybody. It's like crazy. They will close your churches in this country. They go communist, and they're trying to. They will kill your people, and that's what they're about. They want to end religion. They have to end religion because their ideology doesn't work. If you have strong religion, people like you that are so incredible and love our country so much and love God, this is the greatest threat to our country since its founding, in my opinion, 250 years ago, what's happening right now. It's the greatest threat. People don't look at that, well, oh, 3 people were elected. No, it's many more than 3 people. And the other people are being swayed because they don't have the sense to see what's happening. They don't have the sense. Their followers are not leaders, even though they're politicians, in some cases successful ones. For the first time in history, the powerful Rent Stabilization Board, as an example, that sets rents in New York City, just happened today. They've done it for years and years, and they've been very far left. They're run by Democrats, and they give landlords a hard time for years and years. It's called rent control. They give landlords a hard time, but they always give some increases so they can survive. But they just came out, first time ever, with a ruling, 0 rent increases for landlords, 0 for the next 2 years, despite the fact that energy, supplies, real estate taxes, and just about everything else has gone up. They're supposed to allow you to have that. 0. They're giving them that. They're basically confiscating their property. And the one representative for the landlords who's on the board, I think they have 8 or 9 people on the board, and you had one who was representing one out of like 8. But at least you had somebody. But that person walked off in disgust, walked off and got booed. Mayor Mamdani, who came to the White House and seems like a nice guy, but he said he was going to do this in his campaign. Nobody thought he was serious. He said he was going to make sure that people don't have a rent increase, even though energy went up. It's going to come down. It's coming down fast right now. I hope you're watching what's happening. We had a low number just now, $69 a barrel. That was, some people said it was going to be 350 by now. 69, it's going to be 300, 350. Never hit those numbers at all, even in the height of it all. But what the mayor doesn't say is that these buildings will soon turn into ghettos and slums, and that everybody will continue leaving New York. And as this spreads throughout the country, very much like an uncontrollable form of cancer, the country itself will be taken down. It will be third world, strictly third world. And it's happened many times before to very big and very powerful countries. But it's not going to happen to the United States of America. No way. Because communism really is the past and freedom is the future. That's what we are. All we want is freedom. Freedom is going to be, freedom gets you everything. Everyone needs to get out and vote in the midterms. We have to win this election. This election is very vital. If we don't, everything that we've gotten so much. I mean, religious liberty, but we've gotten so much. Our military is the strongest in the world. I built it during my first term, strongest in the world. And people respect us again. They respect us maybe like never before. We were laughed at a year and a half ago. We were laughed at. And now we're the most respected nation anywhere in the world. And in our 250th year, we will make our nation stronger and safer, better, more prosperous, and more faithful. Very important, more faithful than ever before. Today, we have the largest economy on earth. We're expanding at a degree and to a degree that nobody thought possible. They never thought what we're doing for the last year and a half. It's only a year and a half. What we're doing for the last year and a half, nobody thought was possible. We have the strongest military on earth. We have the most powerful technology on earth. We're winning on AI. We're winning with automobile manufacturing. Do you see how many plants are coming back into the United States? Tariffs. If they don't come in, they have to pay massive tariffs. Make your car outside, but you have to pay massive tariffs to come in. If you build your car in the United States using U.S. workers, our great American workers, you don't have any tariffs to pay. So they're all pouring in. It should have been done years ago by other presidents. We have the greatest culture on earth, and above all, we have the greatest people on earth. We do. We have the greatest people. But think of it. I was with the King of Saudi Arabia, and he said, Mr. President, 2 years ago, your country was dead. It was a dead country. And today, you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's amazing what's happened. We were laughed at. We were laughed at. We had a man who couldn't speak, couldn't think. He didn't know what the hell was happening. Kept falling down all over the place. If he was standing here now, he would have been off the stage before he started. But if he was standing here now, he wouldn't know how to get off the stage. You had to lead him off the stage. It was a disaster, and it was a rigged election. But we did it again, and we got it right. Too big to rig. We made it too big to rig. It was a rigged election. And look what happened because it was a rigged election. 25 million people came in, many criminals, murderers, 11,808 murderers, more than 50% of who created more than one murder, murdered more than one person. These are not going to be the citizens of our country. There's not a thing you can do to change that. But drug dealers at the highest level, the worst, some of the worst people on earth came in through open borders, Joe Biden's, but really it was the ideology's open border policy where everybody could come in. They came from all over the world. They emptied their prison populations into the United States of America. Think of that. But we're getting them out. We're getting them out faster than anybody can imagine. And we're going after the bad ones first. We're getting them out. Last week, we signed a historic agreement to accomplish what no president has ever been able to accomplish before, that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to let that happen. And thanks to the power and skill of the United States Armed Forces, Iran today has no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft capability, no radar, virtually no manufacturing. Their drone capacity has been cut by 82%. Their missile capacity has been cut by 80%. Their rocket launchers have been cut by 90%. Their leadership has been killed a first time, and their leadership has been killed a second time. And nobody wants to be the leader of Iran anymore. They said, who would like to be the president? And everyone said, no, thank you. It's amazing. And then the fake news, like the New York Times, which is a failing publication. But the fake news, ABC, so bad. ABC television network, fake ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. They actually said for a little while, it didn't play well, that Iran was much stronger today than it was 4 months ago. Think of it. They have no Navy. They have no... They said they're stronger. They're dying to make a deal. They're giving us a lot. This should have been done over the 47-year period that they've reigned with terror. And that's what they did. They reigned with terror. When you see a young man or woman walking around without legs or without arms or a face that was obliterated, it happened from the roadside bomb. That was the creation of General Soleimani, who I killed in my first term, and that was a big killing. He was a mad genius, but he was going to knock out 5 of our military installations. I found out about it. And in all fairness, Israel was supposed to do it with us, and the night before that took place, we heard from Israel that they will not be doing it. They don't want to do it. And I said to a couple of generals that we had, who were very good, I said, what do you think, generals? Can we do it? Because we worked on it for 30 days, worked on it with Israel. They said, we'll do it, sir. Can we do it as well? We'll do it better. And he was dead the next day. He was dead in the valley of death. He died in the valley of death. We had him all. We knew when he was coming, where he was coming, how he was getting there. We knew everything, but we lost our partner. I don't blame him that much, to be honest with you, because it's tough south. But they told us the night before they won't be doing it. We did it ourselves, and we did it so incredibly well. We also took out the head of Iraq's ISIS division, and we took out both of them by luck with Iraq. But had he lived, because he was a brilliant general, very sick man mentally, but he was a brilliant general, it may have been a different story. I don't think so. I think we would have knocked the hell out of him whether he was there or anybody else was there. But he was a brilliant general. It was one of the biggest things ever to happen in the Middle East, the killing of Soleimani. People have said it's the biggest thing to happen in 100 years because he was a dominant force. I actually think that Khomeini and all of the people in Iran were happy about it because they were afraid of him too. Over the past few weeks, the stock market and your 401ks skyrocketed upward like pretty much nobody's seen before. Oil prices are plummeting downward, and the world is a much safer place. We had to take that detour to knock out Iran. If we didn't do that, and we're still, we still have a fight. They have some capability, not much. They're not winning or anything, but they have some capability. They can still shoot. They shot a drone yesterday at a big ship going into the Hormuz Strait. They shot 4 of them. We knocked down 3 of them. One of them, I guess, we didn't miss it. Nobody saw it coming. And it hit a ship and did some damage. But you can't do that stuff. But very soon we're going to be at $2.50 gasoline. I was in Iowa making a speech the day before we did the attack. And again, we had to turn it around. Everything was going so well. It's like, you're doing so well. We have the best economy. Everything's great. And I brought my people into the room, my financial people and other people. I said, listen, we just set a record in the stock market. We just set a record in every single thing, including 401ks. Your 401ks, most of you have 401ks, are at the highest they've ever been, everything. But this was true 3.5 months ago, before the attack. Everything was good. We had records and everything. We were doing great. And I said, I hate to tell you, but we're going to have to take a detour. We're going to have to go to war or go to a military operation, which my people would prefer that I use as a term because war means things that they don't like. But whether you call it war or not, it is what it is. And we're going to go down to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we're going to have to hit them very hard. And don't forget, when Barack Hussein Obama did the JCPOC, if you look at that, Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him? He was a disaster. He was a disaster. He gave them $1.7 billion in cash, $1.7 billion in cash, and tens of billions of dollars. Gave it to Iran. Thought he could buy their friendship, and it was just the opposite. They used the money and they built missiles and everything else. And I terminated the JCPOA. It was his agreement. It was the Iran nuclear deal. It was a disaster. By the way, it expired a long time ago, but I terminated it long before it expired. If I didn't do that, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon. If I didn't send the B-2 bombers in 10 months ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. We obliterated that nuclear dust. Very important. And then you wouldn't have Israel. Israel would be gone. I know you have a lot of good fans of Israel in this room. And Israel would have been gone, and probably the Middle East would have been gone. And they could have taken a shot. We would have wiped them out pretty quick, but they could have taken a chunk of us too. But in my first term, I created the greatest economy in the history of the world. The first term was a great success and rebuilt the military, did everything. But now we're blowing it away. We're doing much better this time. And again, we did have to make that excursion. How would you like to be given the best numbers we've ever had as a country and tell people, guess what, we're going to war? And nobody in the room knew what I was talking about because it wasn't their thing. And I said, we got to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. Because you want to see problems? Let a crazy country have a nuclear weapon. You'll see problems like you've never seen before. The stock market has set 73 all-time record highs since the election. And more Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. That's pretty good. In January 2025, we inherited the worst, most dangerous, most wide open and insecure border in history. I actually think in the history of the world, I don't think it's just here. You could just walk into the country, and again, they were letting prison populations, they were taking buses and dropping them off at our border, and people coming out, murderers coming out of prison, drug dealers, the worst people. They made our criminals look like nice people. That's the only thing nice. Our criminals, for the first time, looked very nice by comparison to these people. But they dropped 25 million people over 4 years into our country. And it's the single hardest job I have, getting them out. We're getting them out pretty rapidly, but it's a very hard thing. But think of it, prison populations from the Congo, from all parts of South America, from all parts of the world, were taken in, driven through Mexico, and dropped off in our border, and they would walk right into our country. And we've quickly turned it into the strongest and most secure border in the history. We have the strongest border we've ever had now. And for the past 13 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted into the United States. 0. We have 0. And those are the numbers, they report them. And they're taken by sort of a left kind of a group. The stats, if anybody did, they'd like to report them. But we have 0. And they don't even try because they know they're probably not going to get in, so they're not going to make this very dangerous march. We're saving a lot of lives. Because in those caravans, remember I named them caravans, they'd have 25,000 people, sometimes more. But they'd come up from South America and all through Mexico. They'd go all through. And they go through jungles in Colombia. Really tough jungles, too. Dangerous jungles. And women would die, and women would be raped. Remember when I said they get raped, crime, murder, and everyone, my first speech was controversial. When I announced I was running, everyone said, "What do you mean raped?" What I said was peanuts compared to what happened. And the women would come up and they'd die, they'd be raped. A lot of people would die on those caravans. The journeys up they call them journeys through hell. Because they had to go through jungles, they had to go through very dangerous areas. And the people that got here would just walk right into our country. We had no idea who they were. Nobody would even stand there and check. They just came in. Come on in, come on in. This was Sleepy Joe Biden's ideology that was forced on him by much smarter people than him that wanted to destroy our country because he had no clue. But with the help of our law enforcement heroes in 2025, we achieved the largest drop in the murder rate ever recorded in our country's history 125 years ago. Think of that, the year 1900, that was before my father. My father would hate me saying that because it's a long time ago, but that was before my father was born. I had a wonderful father and mother, and family. But the lowest murder rate in 125 years. Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest, most beautiful cities in the country. And just a little while ago, it was a killing machine. Think of that. A year and a half ago, Washington was a very unsafe city. Now it's one of the safest cities in the country. It's one of the most beautiful cities. Doug Burgum and myself and a whole group of people did a great job on the monuments and fountains. And the reflecting pool was so beautiful. They tried to destroy it. They cut it up with a box knife and tried to destroy it. And it's in great shape now. They're terrible. They're vandals. They've caught 6 of them, I guess, maybe more. They've got others in line to be caught. But we just inspected it. We'll fix it right after the 4th of July. Got to let the water out, just fix it. But we caught them. They would cut it, and they would grab this very expensive and very good material, totally waterproof, and they rip it. These people are sick. They ripped a scar 350 feet long through the side of the reflecting pool. These are the people we're dealing with. These are the people that want to destroy our country. But we've invested a record $1 trillion in the United States Armed Forces, and we're going this year for $1.5 trillion, all made in the USA. And something that's so exciting, the recruitment. If you go back a year and a half, 2 years ago, you could not get anybody to join the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, Space Force. You couldn't get anybody to join. They had tremendous recruitment problems, but now recruitment in every branch of our military is setting records. 18 months ago, we had tremendous shortages and we couldn't fill them up. We were never going to fill them up. That included police and firemen. We couldn't get policemen and women. We couldn't get firemen and women. Anything with a uniform because they were ashamed of our country, because we had people that were not respected. You have to respect the president. If you don't respect the president, you're going to have a problem. They had no respect. And now we have waiting lists. Now you can't get into the military. Literally, we went from the worst recruitment numbers ever in 1 year to the best recruitment numbers ever. And it all started on that beautiful day, November 5th, right? A thing called Election Day. And as soon as we won, before I even got to do anything, those numbers started going through the roof. People love our country again, and they have spirit. You always loved it, but you were down, you were depressed. You were not feeling too good about our country, especially you as people with a great religion and a fervor for Christianity and religion. You should be depressed. You should have been, but now you're riding high. But we have to be careful. We don't want to lose it. We've got to win the midterms. We've got to win the election coming up, and we're gonna be in good shape. But you have to expose them. If you don't expose them, I mean, I stand here and I expose them. Some people don't do it right. They say they're going to get free rent. Well, that's okay to say, but everyone's going to vote for them, except for a few of the people in this room. But you have to say they're going to get free rent. But in 2 years, everything is going to collapse and you're going to live in squalor. When you say that, you can beat the free rent. You can beat the fact that they're going to take your house away and give it to somebody else, which is essentially what they'd like to do. But it's happened so many times over the years with really powerful countries, and we're not going to let it happen. So we have the strongest and most powerful military anywhere in the world. I built it in my first term, using it a little bit in my second term. And we're once again using it to defend America's interests and American values. Look at what happened in Venezuela. We have a great, and by the way, we're helping Venezuela. They had a tremendous earthquake, a lot of people killed, and unbelievable, right in Caracas. And we have a lot of people over there helping, but Venezuela's been fantastic. We've had a great relationship. It was a one-day war. We hit them so hard, and one-day war. Now we've taken out millions of barrels of oil, and we've paid for the war many times over. But just as importantly, they are doing better than they've ever done. They're making more money than they've ever done. They've never made the money that they're making now. And it's really, I mean, outside of what happened last night with the terrible, that was terrible what happened. It was a big earthquake, knocked down buildings. But outside, it was really, it's a happy country again. The people are happy. They're dancing in the streets. The people running it are doing a very good job. The United States has never been stronger. We have never been wealthier. We've never been prouder to be an American. Since 1776, America's story has been a tale of freedom, overcoming oppression, good defeating evil, and faith overcoming every challenge and every foe. We had everybody was winning, and we're going to continue stronger, maybe stronger. One generation, think of it, just one generation after our war of independence, the British tried, and they really tried hard to conquer America in the War of 1812. That didn't work out too well. But they failed, and the cause of freedom won, and it continues to win. The War of Survival ultimately gave America our national anthem and our Star-Spangled Banner. Many Americans know the story of Francis Scott Key writing the words of the anthem, and watched the flag under attack, and he wrote those beautiful words. But what few realize is that the very same poem also inspired our national motto. The fourth verse of the song ends in these words, and this be our motto, in God we trust. In God we trust. And as you know, the Democrats want to end that. They don't want the words, in God we trust. They want to have that stricken. They go to court. They take us to court. We're never changing that. We'll fight for that. We're not changing that. In God we trust. Better believe it. So today, on the threshold of our 250th year, this room is proof that America is still a nation that lives by those magnificent words, in God we trust. With the help of everyone here today and Americans of faith all across this land, we will continue to protect the promise of the Declaration of Independence, one of which actually is in my office, in the Oval Office. So we cherish it. We will continue to defend our values, our traditions, our faith, and our freedom. And as we enter the golden age of America, that's what we have. This is the golden age. We've never had anything like it. We have factories all over the country. We have car plants, AI plants, all sorts of plants. Our businesses are expanding. Our numbers are unbelievable. Remember that we've never had a year with so many number one stock markets. Good to have number one because that affects everybody. That means jobs. That means success. That's good, as we said, for your 401ks. It's good for your stock investments. Everyone's doing well. We have a country that's just the hottest. It just is so hot. And I'm working really hard to make it even better. We're going to get rid of some of the flaws. We're going to make it even better. But the biggest thing we have to do is we have to stop this horrible thread of cancer that's permeating our country called communism. We have to stop it because that's what it's about. That's what they want to do quietly. And we ask that God will continue to bless the United States of America, and God will bless the United States of America because of people like you. Thank you very much, and happy Independence Day, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to President Trump. They're going for almost an hour, speaking live at the Washington Hilton, the first time that he's been back there since the attempted assassination on him. Quite a few moments from President Trump there, but at the center of his delivery was touting ICE arrests, a drop in energy prices amid the Iran war, also talking about defending U.S.
Let me switch over to my other feed. So I'm pretty sure he's going to walk out to the music. Let's see if I can catch it on this feed, him walking out. No, I can't. Let's see here. Hold on.
We have the greatest people. Think of it. I was with the king of Saudi Arabia, and he said,
I don't know what just happened there. So, yeah, they did come out with the music, but he walked out. Interesting. He went for literally over an hour in terms of speaking, a different tone completely, obviously, much different tone. One of the things that I want to talk about in this regard was the fact that he went, I didn't know, obviously they don't send me any information as to what the speeches are going to be about, but my entire start of this show was about communism. I'm like, well, okay, I'm clued in. I have an idea where he's going with things. I have an idea what the problem is with this country. And if you go back and hear the very beginning of what he had to say, he said, we got to get ready to fight. And so I'm going to come back and finish up what I was going to talk about because I have a whole story about the Mandami effect and what they're doing. I'll be right back in 90 seconds. You've seen the headlines. Big banks are predicting gold could climb over $6,000 an ounce, with silver going as high as $300 an ounce. The news is finally catching up to what I've known for years. The value of the dollar is under assault, and the demand for gold and silver is absolutely exploding. But who you trust matters just as much as what you buy. That's why I trust Lear Capital. They're an education-first company that prioritizes customer experience over a quick sale. And because of that, Lear has thousands of satisfied customers, over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and was named the best overall gold IRA company by Consumer Affairs. If you're considering gold and silver, call the best in the business and the company Robin and I personally trust, that being Lear Capital. Call today for your free investor kit and ask how you can qualify for up to $20,000 in bonus gold. Call 800-601-5430, or as you see on the screen, go to learberry.com.
You're going to appear in all sorts of people's ads, all sorts of Republicans' ads to say, this is what you're going to get if you vote for the Democrats, a communist.
So I started with this video because one of the things I said, let me just go back an hour and tell you what I was saying, is that most of us know our problems. We know what we're good at. We know what we have problems with. If you're an honest person, you can say, yeah, I do this, I don't do that. I'm sure Robin would love to tell you some of my foibles that she could say, and I'd have to admit that's who I am. And on the same token, if I'm a winner at a game, I want people to know I'm a winner. I want people to know that I've accomplished this or accomplished that. That's why when I talk about prosperity in real estate, I make no bones about it. I love prosperity. I love helping other people become prosperous as well. Now, if you are confident in what you're doing, if you believe in yourself and you believe everything about what you're committed to do, you wouldn't have to dance around it. I mentioned on this show many times, not many, but a few times, when the whole Ricky, what was his name? The Latin singer guy. And they had a rumor that he may have been playing with the other team. And they asked him, "Are you gay?" And he said, "I don't think we need to discuss that," which in essence means you're discussing it. You are telling everybody, A, that you're not, or you may be, but you don't want to come out and actually say who you are. And because you don't want to say who you are, it should diminish your capacity to be that type of person. I'm trying to be delicate here. And so now if you're a communist, if you're an Islamist, if you're one of these people and you truly want to see America taken down, why not say that? Why not be the person you want to be? Why are you trying to be subversive and not let us know who you really are? And I mentioned earlier, there's a word, I don't know the exact word, I pronounce it, but there's a word in their religion that says, be deceptive. Lie to people if it gets us to where we need to go. You are fully allowed to be as deceptive as you possibly can if it helps us get to where we need to be. So this guy on MSNBC, who's a nut job himself, he asked this up-and-coming communist, they're going to call you a communist. Are you ready for that? Listen to what she says here.
I think that framing is one that I've been very proud to be able to say I don't respond to, one in which I have been very intentional to say I won't be reactive.
No, the guy's name I was thinking of was Ricky Martin. Hey, are you gay? Nah, I don't want to talk about it. You just did. Are you a communist? I'm not even going to respond to that. What the hell do you mean you're not going to respond to it? That is who you are, right? That is who you want everyone to understand. This is who you are. Why are you being subversive? Why are you not just coming out and saying, yeah, I'm a commie? If it's so great, if it's something that you just think the entire country should embrace, why not be honest? Because that should tell you right there, that first 8 seconds of this interview, that should have said to you right there, she's being deceitful. I can't trust her. At least Mandami now, you'll see some of his stuff. He's full on letting you know where he's from. But these new ones, the suit hasn't fit yet. They know it's bad, but they still have to go through an election. They still have to get in office. So right now, yeah, we don't want to talk about it. Really? What are you ashamed of? What do you not want us to realize? See, right there, she should be disqualified. New Yorkers, you didn't pay attention. This ran, you didn't pay attention.
Presenting a vision of what we're fighting for. And I think for far too long, we have had politics that is reactive to what Republicans are doing. What we need is Democrats who are actually going to present a positive vision, one that sets the tone for what we should be talking about.
That's not what he asked you. They're very good at just trying to, let the snake and follow my head here, and I can come up with some sort of word salad. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean? Are you a communist? I would ask her a second time.
The issue of affordability, which is the issue of how our budgets are moral documents. If we say that we want to invest in working people in this country, then we need to do that, and our budgets need to reflect that.
All right, here's one of the things we have to start right now. You might not like what I'm going to say here. I am tired. I am over these people talking about the working class. Not because I have any issue with the working class, but because it's like saying, I don't know, unicorns. It means absolutely nothing. Everybody is in the working class. Unless you're retired or you have physical infirmities, everybody is in the working class. What the hell does it even mean? I'm in the working class. It's BS. Stop talking to me about working class. You can't even define who you are, and ergo, you can't even define what working class means. Yesterday, I posted something, actually, I posted it this morning, and the thing I posted this morning was something that we all have to begin, and I'm going to say it, even though it might get me in some trouble here, it might get me in big trouble, but Clarence Thomas told us something yesterday, and maybe not a lot of people saw it. I posted this and said, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas reclaimed our language in yesterday's SCOTUS decision. He said, and I'm reading his decision, he said, aliens have no equal protection. Aliens have no equal protection rights against the federal government. He didn't say undocumented. He didn't say any euphemism. The word in the law says aliens do not have any protection against the federal government, period. What's working class? It's a phrase they made up because it sounded good whenever they did their focus groups to try and make it seem like they're working for the working people, when they're not. Working people don't need free shit. Working people don't have to, oh, this is big news. Is this correct? Man, I keep interrupting my stories. I'll come back to that. Working people don't need that. Working people need more opportunity. Working people need a chance to make more money. Working people don't need universal health care. Working people don't need food stamps. If you're truly talking about working people, why aren't you trying to help people lower their taxes? Let them take home more money. Do things so that they can make more money. They don't need free stuff. I don't need free stuff. I don't need anybody to give me anything free. I just need you to get out of the way. So when they say working class, who are they talking about? Nobody who should be working at this point, I'm not talking about being a barrister, but if you're working, free stuff is just a benefit. It shouldn't be something we're looking for as a feature. And it's appalling to me that we have got to a point in this country where what we are trying to do is appeal to the smallest segment of our society. Basically, people who've got nothing, are doing nothing, and are okay with doing nothing, and just want to keep taking and taking and taking. That's not promoting people. That's not helping them progress. You're supposed to be the progressive party, and you're keeping people in slavery. It is completely opposite of helping people progress. You know, while President Trump was talking, I pulled down a few videos. I'm not even going to show the video. I'm just going to show you the tweet on what the Democrats are focusing on. And it was amazing to me. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Here's one from Senator Ed Markey. Together, we fight for a future where the LGBTQ plus rights are guaranteed, not granted, because we deserve a future where everyone is free to live as their authentic self. Maybe you should say that to, the commies. Be free if you want to be authentic. But anyway, he's talking about a segment of the population that's what, 15, 20%? Okay. Next, I saw this one by Frederica. She's a person down here in Florida. Today, I introduced the Haitian Refugee Immigration Act of 2026. Haitian families deserve more than a lifetime of uncertainty. What about American families in Florida or Texas? What about them? Why are you guys all out there making videos about what you should be doing for these marginalized, your own words, people? when there's a whole swath of people out here who love life and want to do better on their own. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So anyway, back to this lady. She's dancing around. But then you have the other problem. So I've got 3 videos I want to show you. And these videos are very recent, in fact, today and yesterday, that tell the entire story about this communist insertion that's happening. And it's Mandami. He says he is going to protect illegal aliens and Haitians. When did New York get reduced to just Haitians and Syrians?
We saw today the Supreme Court make a decision that is putting so many people's lives in jeopardy. And I just came back from a rally with 1199 as I stood alongside a number of Haitian New Yorkers who are concerned about what this means for their status in our city. And frankly, this city, the one that we love, is one that has been built by so many from so many different parts of the world. And that includes our Haitian brothers and sisters, our Syrian brothers and sisters. And we stand here ready to be in solidarity with all of those who are concerned by today's decision. And be.
You know, I've got 5 sisters and 2 brothers. That's it. Those are my brothers and sisters. That's another thing that they try to do, is to make sure that, you know, you're part of this warmth of collectivism. You're part of this family. They don't want individuality. They don't want people to succeed. And so it's easier to cater to, especially from a communist perspective, these people here, they need your help. Well, they're not supposed to be here. You can say they've done this, they've done that, and they've raised families, and doesn't matter. The underlying theme is they're not supposed to be here. You swore an oath, which I don't know what oath you swore, but as you hear him talk here, you're going to realize after him hearing a Supreme Court ruling and he working as a mayor in a city and understanding what country you're in, he calls what the Supreme Court did putting their lives in jeopardy. I don't think anybody ordered a hit squad. I don't think anybody said we got to, go out there and do things to people. They just said you got to go home. And then he says New York will never accept a Supreme Court ruling.
Beyond just language of solidarity, actions of solidarity. Now, what that means when it comes to our city is if you are worried about what this means for your status, if you're worried about what this means for your family, I would encourage you to call our Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs hotline, and you can do so at 1-800-354-0365. Again, that's 1-800-354-0365. Now, many of you know this is a city of 8.5 million people. More than 3 million of us were born elsewhere. I'm one.
I didn't even know that. So you're telling me nearly 50% of the people, doing some quick math, 3 out of 8, that many people, 40% of the population, I won't say citizens, 40% of the population of New York is now foreign. How did that happen? 40%. Now I do my math, I'm doing it quick. Yeah, 40% of the people in New York City are not from America. And now you've got a mayor there, a brazen communist, saying we're not going to accept a Supreme Court ruling. We are going to do everything we possibly can to subvert the law, like it's its own country.
We're a city that's proud of our immigrant heritage. And when we think about, especially what Haitian New Yorkers have had to deal with, not just for weeks or months or years, but frankly for decades, we have seen a cruelty that has become normalized. And to have people who frankly taught the world about freedom.
Okay, 2 things there. I don't see how they're being brutalized. And when the hell did Haitians teach the world about freedom? You're telling me with all the different people from different countries that have come here, Haitians taught the world about freedom. You see, what you're hearing is you're hearing a mayor, let's not forget that, a mayor create his own immigration policy, his own narrative about immigration policy, his own foreign policy, and then try to come off as though we're New York. We're not part of America. That's the scary part of all this, because to me, it almost sounds like he's ready to secede from the nation. Good luck. You're literally giving the middle finger to the American legal system. Listen more.
Have their own freedom be put in jeopardy by the actions of a Supreme Court and a federal administration. It is not only cruel, it's something that we will not ever accept. And so we stand.
Can you imagine? How the hell are you telling people we won't accept the law? We're going to create our own. We're in Mandamistan right now. We are not going to accept the ruling of the Supreme Court. So what we're going to do, because we're communists, we are going to do what we want to do. This man is rarely ever seen with an American flag unless he has to in the background. In fact, right now there's some pride stuff that you're going to see. It's deliberate. This is not politics. This is open defiance to America, open resistance. It's absolutely crazy.
And here as New Yorkers, proud of standing in solidarity and proud to do everything that we can to keep people in their homes and to keep people together.
So you have a mayor of an American city who's telling you we are going to defy American law and do everything we possibly can because we're proud to break the American law because we are a sanctuary city, whatever the hell that means. Excuse me, because I don't know what it means. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, the next cut I'm going to show you will definitely define to you with no uncertain doubt that this guy does not want, care, or uphold anything American.
And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us,
He ain't talking to me. I don't think he's talking to you. He's in City Hall where the flags have to be pretty much, and he's telling Americans to embrace the Islamic view, the Islamic perspective on immigration. He's citing the Sunnah, he's citing the Quran for how we should be handling our borders here in America, for how we should treat people coming here illegally. This is not American tradition. There is nothing Americana about this guy. This is not Western law. This is an illegal importing of a different legal system altogether. This isn't even sanctuary city stuff. This is him saying, I don't care about the Supreme Court. I don't care about the president. I don't care about Congress. This is my city, and this is how we're going to run it.
as for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world. Or as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers.
You understand what he just said? Probably not. But he said, we're going to bring people here. You know, these people might be strangers, and they won't be strangers when they get here because the rest of us who like Allah, Allah Akbar are going to be here. He said it out loud, proudly, completely proud. You ever remember that song by David Bowie, This Is Not America? This is not America. This is getting really scary, and I don't think many Americans are ready for it. I can't tell you how many times I've seen on X. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the comment, Barry, I can't watch this stuff. Then you're next. If you don't know what your enemy is doing, if you don't know what your enemy is capable of, if you don't acknowledge that your enemy is coming for you, If you just keep looking away because it's uncomfortable to see, it doesn't feel right, I don't need to hear this crap, you're toast. When somebody tells you, I'm going to do everything I can to change your way of life, and you ignore it, you may not have anyone to blame but yourself. The reason I even play this is because I'm trying to ring a bell. I'm trying to give a warning. I'm trying to let everybody know it's about to get really bad. President Trump took an hour of that speech, and out of that speech, probably 30, 40 minutes was talking to you about communism. It's not across the sea in China. It's sitting in New York City and different cities around the country. And I don't think enough people are watching. I don't think enough people are understanding. And I definitely don't think enough people are ready to fight.
If faith offers us the moral compass to stand alongside the stranger, government can provide the resources. Let us create a new expectation of City Hall, where power is wielded to love, to embrace, and to protect. We will stand with the stranger today.
I get chills when I hear this stuff. It's like looking at 1939 videos of Adolf Hitler. They thought Trump was the one that was creating something bad with MAGA. I'm sorry, but MAGA salutes the flag. I'm sorry, but MAGA understands the Pledge of Allegiance. We understand law. We may not always drive 55, but we understand if you don't drive 55, you probably can get caught and get a ticket. If you steal something, you could go to jail. If you hurt someone, you could go to jail and be sued. These people are looking at the American law, the American legal system, and say it doesn't apply to us. We're going to bring people here and create our own laws. We don't care about the Supreme Court. Oh, it gets worse.
Now, this is all from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. I was just with our Commissioner, Faiza Ali, because we know that this is a moment of fear. It's a moment of anxiety.
This is the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs. Okay. Question. What the hell do you have to do with immigration? Immigration is a federal issue, way above the pay grade of the mayor of a city. But the mayor of this city has put together an Office of Immigrant Affairs. How? Who are you? Who are you to put together an Office of Immigrant Affairs as though you have your own immigration system?
It's also the exact moment when city government should be there for you. So please do call this number if that's something that you're worried about, that's for yourself or for anyone else. And furthermore, we want to make it clear that our city does not simply oppose the actions of ICE, but that we are not going to be complicit with those actions either. And
What? When have you got on camera or walked into any office and say, yeah, I'm here in Boca Raton and I'm not even complying with what you guys have to say? What? What do you mean not complying? I don't recognize you as having any authority. Not only do we not recognize, we are not even going to comply with the laws of this country. And the other guy sitting next to him like, you're right, we're not. What? Is this did we walk into some alternate reality where you can choose simply to not even comply with the laws of the country you're living in?
that means making sure that every single city agency is in compliance with our sanctuary city policies. Now, if you don't know what a sanctuary city policy is, I'll describe it this way. It means that we do not allow ICE agents into our schools, our hospitals.
In case you don't know, I'm going to break it down for you. Just to let you know, we don't let ICE go anywhere in our city. What do you mean? How is it? I don't know. How are you going to stop somebody from going into, I don't know, a library? Especially a federal agent. What do you mean allow? Where did that come in with anything that you're supposed to be doing? We're not complying, and in doing so, we're not even allowing you to go into these places.
Our city property, unless they can provide a judicial warrant signed by a judge. It means that we don't assist ICE with their immigration, their civil immigration enforcement. It means that we make clear that we are proud of our heritage also as an immigrant city. And
no, New York is proud as its heritage of a legal immigrant city. There's no illegal immigration that's allowed anywhere. They created this myth of sanctuary cities as if they think there's some sort of shield on the door. A federal agent, you're not allowed to cross these footsteps. I mean, the doorstep. The brazenness of what this guy is saying. We don't just simply oppose ICE. We're not going to be complicit. Every city agency must follow our sanctuary city policies. No ICE in schools, no ICE in hospital, no ICE on New York City property anywhere. Go ahead and get a judicial warrant. We don't need judicial warrants. These people aren't supposed to be here. Wait a minute, let me go back to, the Supreme Court Justice. He says the aliens have no equal protection rights against the federal government. What in the hell are you talking about? The Supreme Court yesterday said the aliens have no equal protection against the federal government. And you're telling the federal government, unless you got a warrant, you can't come in. Why not? Because we're protecting these people. There is no protection. You can say we don't assist ICE. You can say you're not getting involved in civil immigration enforcement. You can say we're even a proud heritage as an immigrant city. But you can't tell the Supreme Court that, we're going to protect them because they need a judicial warrant and we're not going to be complicit. Everybody, this isn't compassion. This is complete nullification. This is active obstruction. Is there any such thing as a sanctuary city under the laws of America? No, not in the way that Mandami means it. The supremacy clause of the Constitution is clear. Perhaps he's never read it. Article 6 of the Constitution. Federal law is the supreme law of the land. And then there's a giant little black thing called the period after that. Federal law is the supreme law of the land, period. Immigration is a federal matter, period. Always has been. The federal government sets the rules. States and cities cannot create their own parallel legal system. They can't declare themselves immune. They can't shield people who broke federal law. That's not federalism. That's a rebellion. That's open secession, I would say. Sanctuary policies that refuse all cooperation, that block federal officers, that's not protected. That definitely crosses into obstruction. I can't wait till Tom Homan gets in there. They're harboring illegals. They're defying the rule of law. He's not just disagreeing with policy. We all may disagree with things. We have the right as Americans to disagree. But he's saying the New York law is above the Supreme Court, above the law of the land.
these are a number of the things that we're doing alongside providing individual legal assistance as well as funding for immigrant legal defense services. Because what we see in this city is a story like Alan's. Immigrant New Yorkers who are trying to make their way in our city only to have to face the threat of deportation with allegations of technical issues with their applications.
Oh, those little technical things. Thou shalt not steal. Hey, there's a law against stealing stuff. I only stole like an apple at the grocery store. It's just technical. I put it back when you caught me. This guy's defining his own laws. You heard him, right? This is above the president. This is above the Constitution. You got the other guy sitting there nodding. It's just a technical thing. I just walked across the border. I swam across the Rio Grande. No big deal. I'm going to protect all of these illegal people. despite the Supreme Court saying you don't have any rights. You're not from here.
And we've seen.
I just can't. He wants an Islamic framework for immigration. That's what he wants. He said it. He turned city agencies into a wall against federal enforcement. This is not normal political disagreement that we're having with a Democrat versus a Republican. This is a soft version of secession. Or it may even be a bigger version of insurrection. Take your point. Whatever you want to say, secession or insurrection, traitorous, call it what it is. In the 1860s, we thought we settled the question. States can't leave the Union, and they also can't create their own damn laws. They can't nullify federal law. Abraham Lincoln made that extremely clear. The Constitution is not a suicide pact. We fought a war over it. Hundreds of thousands of people died over the years to make sure America stayed sovereign. No city, especially not Mandami, being not even from here, gets to play as though they're an independent nation. No mayor gets to invent his own immigration system, especially not one based on foreign religious law. Mandami and his commie allies, they see New York as a base. I'm not talking about a base of voters. I think they see New York as their own occupation, that kind of base. We're going to set up shop here. We now have it. This is our foothold. This is our place for disruption, for completing a different vision of America. These are people who said that the woman you saw earlier, she said that Joe Biden was a rapist. She said F Kamala Harris. They don't even want Democrats. This is absolutely insane. This doesn't put America first. This one doesn't even recognize America. This is one that puts globalism, socialism, and imported ideologies as first. They will use city power to fight the federal government. I'm waiting for him to do some sort of action where they spend a whole bunch of money on armament. They may get their own tanks, who knows, to fight you, to fight the American people who voted for secure borders, who voted for law and order. They want to let murderers not have to go to jail. This is the first stages. I'm fired up about it because I am ready to fight. I don't know about you. I don't know if you're ready to actually understand what is coming your way. If we let this stand, what do you think comes next? Other cities copying it. Other states openly defying federal courts. A balkanization, a soft civil war, where one part of the country simply refuses to be part of the rest of the country. That's what New York is going to be turning into. He's making no bones about it. He doesn't think that New York has to follow American law. He wouldn't be on TV so much. He wouldn't be making so many videos. They are cannibalizing the Democrat Party, and we can't allow it. Even though we don't like Democrats, we can't allow this. The federal government has tools. We can withhold funding, enforce the law aggressively. We need to send a message loud and clear that the Constitution still rules. America is still one nation. I think some of these people are starting to understand that.
Now, what I find interesting is, you know this, I've spent my life turning red districts to blue. What the socialist wing has decided to do is turn blue districts to cobalt blue. And that doesn't make Hakeem Jeffries the speaker the way in 2006 we made Nancy Pelosi the speaker. Second, if you go look at strategically, you know, if you look at the IRA and you look at the ACA, it was two Democratic senators in both pieces of legislation who came from red states. The way you create a majority either in the legislative body or win the presidency is moving red areas to blue, not blue areas to cobalt blue or to midnight blue. And that's all that happens. Take a look in Omaha. We've lost 3 times with the most progressive candidate. We finally got a person like Denise Powell, and we're in a position to finally flip a seat. That's how you build a majority. And if you also look presidentially, 7 states, 500,000 voters across those states, Caitlin, have decided the last 3 presidents. None of those states, Georgia, North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada, the industrial Wisconsin, Michigan, or Pennsylvania, they're not electing socialists.
They don't think they are. What they don't know is what's coming for them. They may not realize, hey, openly, it's because these people are so subversive. They're not going to let you know. You heard that with the first woman. Hey, you a communist? I don't answer those questions. They're not going to walk in and go, hey, we're communists. No. We're going to smile at you. We're going to make you feel great. And we're going to talk to the college kids. And we're going to find those areas in your state that only need 3,000 votes, 5,000 votes. We can find those areas that have a seat that we can go in and get whatever money, wherever the money's coming from, and we can take over this area with a smile. They're not coming as wolves. They're coming in as Trojan horses. So don't think they can't get to your area. I saw something earlier. Where was this woman? There's this woman that's running for an office, and she's just as cute as can be. Until you realize and look at her backstory, is she wants to basically see Israel go away. She wants to see so many of the things we stand for just not be there. She doesn't want to see cash bail. I mean, she doesn't want bail at all, actually. She wants Medicare for all. Like, where are you going to get all this money? Where all this free stuff? No, nobody should even have to work, is one of her platforms. You see, that's going to work in the eyes of some people who think they've been taken over. She's just going to look pretty and smile. And she's a commie. So don't tell me, Rom, don't tell me that it can't even happen in some town in Missouri, because we know Republicans aren't paying attention. Prove me wrong. Do some homework in your state and find a small district, and what would it take to win it, and look at the results from the past election. Find those districts that only need 6, 7, 10,000. Do you know AOC? I believe she won her district with 25,000 votes. They're not walking out there going, you know what, we got to be this person. People got lazy. People got apathetic. They haven't been paying attention. And you just saw it happen in the biggest city in the country. So don't say it can't happen where you live, because it surely can. And it's scary because too many people aren't paying attention.
I think that you have a situation where if the Democratic Party goes the way New York City went on Tuesday, I think that they're doomed. They're going to blow their chance because, the ability of people like President Trump to equate socialism with communism. New York City should, you could take the president out of New York. You can't take the New York out of the president. He watches these results in New York microscopically. He will absolutely incinerate the Democrats who are the social democrats who have this ultra liberal agenda. They're going right down the same 2024 path, transgender rights, and it's really going to be. I think that the Democrats are providing with this youthful enthusiasm, and we love it, and see all the Gen Z voters and so forth. But if they go with this anti-Israel, anti-wealth kind of communist or at least socialist platform, right, they're going to blow the biggest opportunity By the way, to take the midterms and then take 2028. Yeah.
So you got some, Geraldo's older, Rahm Emanuel's older. Some of the older Democrats are trying to sound the alarm, but it's not going to work because the younger people aren't paying any attention to them. When I saw that Rahm Emanuel video that I just showed you, I was looking at the comments underneath, and it was scary because the comments underneath his video were like, F you, you're a Zionist, and your brother, his brother is a big agent in California that they based the show, or not the show, but Ari Emanuel from Entourage. That's his brother, big agent. And so they know he's got big family money. They hate it all. I was like, wow. Wow. And I'm just looking after comment after comment after comment. Screw you. I'm like, geez, man, these people are angry. And the other thing is they've done their homework. They knew who Rahm Emanuel was. They knew that he worked in the Obama administration. They understand he's with the big Chicago machine. They hate Geraldo. They have done their research. I wonder if you have.
According to this new report from Axios, a bunch of centrist House Democrats are, quote, preparing for war if the new slate of far-left members who just won their Democratic primaries ultimately end up joining their ranks in Congress and try to hijack the House floor to extract ideological concessions. 13 House Democratic members and candidates signed on to a Promise to America initiative. They're pledging to stay true to centrist principles, including capitalism over socialism, fiscal discipline, strong borders, and pride in the United States. Among them, current House Reps Tom Suozzi, Adam Gray, Laura Gillen, Don Davis, Kristen McDonald-Rivet, Josh Gottheimer, Maggie Goodlander, Janelle Bynum, Vicente Gonzalez, and Susie Lee. One of these lawmakers told Axios, quote, there's going to be war, calling the incoming leftist members bomb throwers, not problem solvers.
Okay, so now they're acknowledging they're going to have their own internal civil war. I don't think they're ready for it. They're having too much of a fracture as it is now. President Trump in today's talk was pretty much telling you, you better unite here. We've got our own problems where people aren't paying attention. Remember the pretty girl I was telling you about earlier? I did have it saved. This is her. It says, meet, what's her name? Melat Kiros, 29-year-old recovering lawyer, PhD student, and barista running a Democrat socialist campaign for Colorado's first congressional district. So she just found this one district. She emigrated from Ethiopia as a baby. Then she got fired from her corporate law gig after publicly defending pro-Hamas protests and questioning Israel's right to exist right after October 7th. Now she's running on ending all U.S. aid to Israel and arms embargo, accusing establishment Dems, going after the establishment Democrats, of profiting from genocide, Medicare for all, and dismantling ICE. And so, what does this person look like? Well, very unassuming. Just come at you with a smile like Mandami. They're not like what you would think. And then they're not going to tell you that they're communists. They're just going to run for office wherever you may be. You won't even see it coming. Oh, it's just Neera. You know, we know Neera. We didn't know she was a snake.
It's Tom Suozzi.
As we said in our pledge, we're for capitalism, not socialism. We're for safety, not lawlessness. We're proud of America, not ashamed of America. And we need to be promoting those things. And, the far left and the far right, they're all very well organized. But those of us that don't support those far left or far right principles need to do a better job organizing and getting our message out.
This comes after candidates endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America defeated several well-funded incumbents with the help of endorsements from New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. Fox's Chad Pergram talked to Congressman John Larson about the fallout.
What did Congress have to do with elections in New York? The voters of New York make up their own mind. We don't control voters of New York. In America, in a free democratic republic, people get to choose their elected representatives. The people of New York have made a decision.
And the result is widely expected to deliver the largest far-left coalition in history after the new candidates join ranks with the current squad members in the House.
I believe in capitalism, so I'm not a socialist. So I don't know whether that's an issue or not.
Look, I think what happens in New York City is sort of just what happens in New York City.
When we have the power, we're not afraid to use it.
The coalition could also pose a problem for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries if Democrats end up taking a majority in November and Jeffries tries to take the Speaker's gavel.
Let me ask you a question. These people all have this cocoon that they live in, and they're all up in Congress, and they walk through the same halls and everything. I was up there. I got to see it. They never saw it coming. Let that sink in. The people are on the Democrat side right now. They're all freaking out. They understood their game. Hey, we're going to fight these guys over here, these Trump, this MAGA people. And we've got some of these rhinos that are working with us. We're all good, right? We're going to be here forever. Chuck Schumer's woke up this week and realizes you're not going to be here, Chucky. They're going to primary you and get you the hell out of here. Hakeem Jeffries, they're going to come for you. They already said it. They said tonight, we're coming for you. See, this isn't a posturing. If they got caught flat-footed, think about this. If the wacky bald chick and some of these other people got completely bamboozled and caught by surprise, how are you going to stop it from happening in your neighborhood? I don't know how. Because they're well-funded, and I keep hearing this word, organized, organized, organized. We need to get organized. We need to get prepared to fight. And I mean fight to the, you know what? We need to go all the way there. This is the biggest story right now, which is pretty good because it takes a lot of heat off the president. Because let them go ahead and fight their own little wars right now. Let them have their jungle wars. But at the same time, while they're fighting, because it's going to go on for a while, we see it. And now we need to make sure that we completely react to it. Because we can't let these people take over our country. Understand right now, they've basically taken over two of the biggest cities in our country. New York has fallen. And it looks like Los Angeles is going to fall as well. Right back to Karen Bass. And if you don't know Karen Bass's history, you might want to go look that up as well. Remember, she was trained by Castro. Not sure if you understood that. So you got Mandami, New York, and you've got Karen Bass, and the other one's even worse in Los Angeles. Those two big, giant cities. So where's it going? And you can't say you didn't see it coming. I'll be back in 90 seconds. We'll see what SB's got.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
I'm chuckling because there's some guy that SB just had to toss away. Yeah, Barry, you wouldn't know a fight if you saw it, or I punched you in the face. Good luck with it. You want to find out? Anyway. As you know, or may be finding out, Medicare is confusing. And as someone who recently turned 65 myself, I can confirm this. Keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes a lot of time and energy. And between Medicare scams, corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you literally thousands of dollars. That's why I'm happy I worked with the people at Chapter. They're actually honest and the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, and they can help you save as much as an average of $1,100 a year. People are relieved when they call Chapter. They can understand it. We can save $100 a month just by looking at different plans. They won't push you to buy a plan you don't want, and their support is completely free. Doesn't cost you a dime. There's not very rarely will you see something that will help you that doesn't cost you any money. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. Most people, when they call Chapter, is he on live again? Oh my gosh. Most people, when they call Chapter, just wish they'd called sooner. All right, be right back.
Fantastic job. Fantastic job. Vice Chairman Ben Carson, Dr. Ben Carson, my friend. He was originally my opponent. He ran very tough. I didn't like running against him. He was very tough. He was a tough one, but he's a great gentleman. Attorney General Todd Blanche. Where's Todd? You're doing good. Everybody tells me what a good job you're doing. I agree. They're all, even the senators are all saying, well, he's doing a great job. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Scott Turner. Scott, thank you. Dr. Ryan Anderson. Ryan, thank you very much. Bishop Robert Barron. Attorney Allison Ho, Dr. Phil, some would call him Dr. Phil McGraw. We all know him as Dr. Phil, one of the most successful people ever on television, I might add. Thank you, Phil. President and CEO of First Liberty Institute, Kelly Shackelford. Kelly, thank you. Rabbi Mir Solovicek. Thank you, Rabbi. Pastor Paula White has been with the campaign from day one. And Jenny Korn worked with Paula so well. We got, I think, 94% of the vote, the evangelical vote. Nobody's ever gotten a number like that. And we're very honored, and part of it is because of the people standing behind me. The director of the White House Domestic Policy Council, Vince Haley. He used to be my speechwriter. Now he went on to policy. And he's doing a great job. He's a fantastic guy. In May of last year, I established the Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty to outline threats to the free exercise of religion in our country and to provide recommendations for action. America was founded by people of faith, and it was settled as a haven for religious freedom, so important. As we prepare to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our founding next week, it is only appropriate that we work to strengthen this fundamental right and to, most essentially, have liberty for generations to come. We want religious liberty. We want liberty, but we also want religious liberty. We will closely study this report that is being presented to me as president today, and my administration will continue to work with the pillars of protecting religious liberty for all Americans, and we must also remain one nation under God. We will never let that phrase be stolen from us. You know, people are trying to steal it. We all know that very well. That phrase will never be stolen. It will stand proudly in our courts and everywhere else where we have it. And I want to thank this great team of outstanding work. And I'd like to start off with the chairman, Dan Patrick, and say a few words about the report, and followed by a couple of the people that I know up here so well, and they're going to speak at random if they want, but it will be followed by Vice Chairman Dr. Ben Carson. So, Dan, if you would, you'll start it off, and then Ben, and then you could say a few words, everybody, as you want. Thank you.
Yes, sir. First of all, Mr. President, thank you for hosting us today, and thank you for establishing this commission. It was just 13 months ago when we stood in the Rose Garden. Now it's an incredibly beautiful Rose Garden today. We stood there and we talked about religious liberty, and that no president in our history has stood more for God than this president. He has been unashamed to speak the word of Jesus. He's been unashamed to speak up for all faiths. And he established this commission so that we would assure Americans that religious liberty, that this great inheritance from our founding fathers, would continue for another 250 years. And Mr. President, we believe this will be one of your greatest legacies, and you happen to be the perfect president to be here in the 250th celebration. The question is, what is religious liberty? It's our conscience. It's that little voice inside of us that tells us right from wrong. It's that voice that when we're in trouble we can talk to in our quiet moments. It's that voice when we feel unloved and alone that can comfort us through a higher power. When governments can take away your religious liberty, they're putting their hand in your heart and taking everything you believe in. And if governments can do that, then they become God. The president spoke earlier today of the communist threat in this country. We know what communists do around the world. They remove God. They close the churches. They punish the believers. And so this is so important at this point in time in history. And we didn't know about this communist movement a year ago when we were here. But this is the perfect time to stand up and say to America, you have been given this great inheritance and you deserve to have religious liberty. The key is that after 103 witnesses, after 7 months of testimony, after 200 pages of testimony that we're delivering today, we found there was one constant theme. The overwhelming majority of our witnesses said that they were attacked and punished, and what was used against them was one phrase that's not in the Constitution, and that phrase is separation of church and state. The left has used that one phrase that was one line out of one of hundreds of letters by Thomas Jefferson to batter and hammer people of faith for the last 70 to 80 years. And this report will speak very clearly that we want to be sure Americans understand that they cannot be attacked by that phrase any longer. So we have 12 recommendations. I'll read the first 6. My great vice chairman will read the next 6, and then members will speak to these issues. So, Mr. President, recommendation number 1, instruct the Department of Justice to issue guidance clarifying the proper understanding of the Establishment Clause and the separation of church and state. Number 2, the Department of Justice, the Department of Health and Human Services, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission shall issue Know Your Rights posters for students, parents, public teachers, administrators, religious leaders, religious institutions, healthcare workers, and military service members. Ben Carson, I'll let you finish with the remaining 7. 6. Go ahead.
Combat anti-Semitism through enforcement of civil rights laws, litigation of credible allegations of anti-Semitic discrimination and violence, and civic education. Protect religious Americans from government-led litigation targeting their free exercise. Repeal the Johnson Amendment. Order the Department of War to streamline and improve the religious accommodation process. Continue efforts to restore the retirement or re-enlistment eligibility of service members who lost employment, health insurance, pensions, and other benefits because of their religious beliefs about COVID and vaccines. And lastly, honor the courage of religious liberty heroes through creating a Presidential Medal of Religious Liberty and First Freedom Hero Awards to recognize Americans who stand up for religious freedom and play an indispensable role in protecting citizens' constitutional rights. And Mr. President, we just want to thank you, first of all, for appointing us to this commission, and secondly, for your steadfast dedication to religious liberty. I don't think anybody has done as much as you have, maybe not everybody else put together. And some people in the beginning thought it was just fake, it was just politics, but you've been steadfast throughout the whole thing. And it's a big part of America. Our founding document says that our rights come from our Creator and not from government. And people who try to divorce us from that heritage Do they realize that that's in our founding document? Do they realize that our Pledge of Allegiance says we are one nation under God? Do they realize that many courtrooms in the land on the wall it says in God we trust? That every coin in their pocket, every bill in their wallet says in God we trust? So if it's in all those places, but we're not supposed to talk about it, maybe we need to see a psychiatrist.
Thank you.
Other members?
Would anybody like to say anything? Dr. Phil?
Mr. President, I want to underline that this wasn't a performative commission. I remember walking in there, the Attorney General's there, walking in the next one, the President of the United States is there, seeing what's going on with the commission. And what stuck out at me, for me, is how many Americans showed up saying that they were persecuted in healthcare, military, education, different walks of life for living their faith and standing up for their faith. It's not just the liberty to choose which house of worship they want. It's actually getting into their daily life, and they're being persecuted in their jobs, in their professions. And that's where the fight for liberty is actually showing up. And they're having the courage to come and talk about that. They can't show a cross on their desk at school. They can't refuse a vaccine because it's against their religion. And they're having the courage to stand up for that, and President Trump is backing them all the way. And this commission is making it all transparent. And I'm just very honored to have been part of that.
Thank you very much, Phil. Appreciate your support. You're a great gentleman. Thank you. Anybody?
Yep. Mr. President, just thank you for creating this commission. As we celebrate the 250th, we're reminded that we're created equal, we're endowed by our Creator with inalienable rights, that the right to religious freedom for the founders is because of duties to the Creator. What we heard over and over during our commission hearings were people who thought that the Creator should be banished from the public square, that the Establishment Clause meant that religion had to be kept in a closet. We saw over and over again students being told they can form a club, but not if it's a religious club. They can speak at commencement, but not if they mention God. Parents can get vouchers, but not if they use it at a religious school. Over and over again, double standards where religious Americans were victimized. And then we saw unjust ideologies, particularly trans ideology, where parents were told we're going to secretly transition your kids. Medical doctors were told if you blow the whistle on this, we're going to harass you, over and over again. The recommendation that I really want to encourage you to make prominent is the last one that Dr. Carson read. Who a community celebrates shows what a community values. And we should be celebrating the heroes of religious liberty. Over and over again, we saw men and women who were victimized, and then they fought back and they won. And we should celebrate those heroes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'll just add first how grateful I am for the privilege of serving on this commission and for being given the opportunity to work for the religious liberty of all Americans. Dr. Carson, as part of the recommendations of this commission, mentioned fighting against anti-Semitism, fighting against Jew hatred. And of course, your administration has been so incredible in the way that it's worked on this issue. I'll be heading back now for Shabbat to New York. As you know, the Jewish community there faces a lot of threats, and it's a scary time in New York right now.
Serious threats.
Very serious threats, as you mentioned in your speech today. And I, for one, am profoundly grateful for your leadership on this matter and the incredible leadership of the Justice Department on this matter and of the entire administration on this matter. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. This is the report, and it was just presented to me by the group. Beautiful. And you'll all get a copy of this during the day. And you'll see it's quite a report. A lot of very important things in this report having to do with religion and actually some other topics also. But it's very important.
Paula, did you want to speak, or Bishop Barron?
I want to say thank you, President Trump. You are the greatest champion of faith, and these were not just superficial woundings that we heard against people of faith. They were egregious acts that were very difficult to even listen to, that you would think wouldn't happen in a country like ours, but they did to 4-year-olds, 6-year-olds, little children, to moms, dads, communities, the rejection, the pain, the trauma that was caused simply because of faith. And it is just inconceivable that no one has stood up like you have stood up to fight for faith, which gives us meaning and purpose and hope and an ability to continue to be our better selves. So thank you for honoring people of faith and being the greatest champion with this religious commission, with 2 DOJ task force, with the historical White House Faith Office, and all the many other things you've done. We could sit here and list this all day, but your history will go down as the greatest history of a president that fought for people of all faiths, and we're grateful.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I'm very grateful to you as well. The commission was a wonderful year. I enjoyed the meetings very much, and the witnesses were very impressive. People that we heard. I'm struck as I stand in this historic place looking over the portrait of James Madison. We spent a lot of time talking about the First Amendment. No one in this commission wants an established religion, but we all want the free exercise of religion. We sense that being limited in different ways. I think we also sense that behind a lot of the particular offenses, there was this great battle, you might say, with what I call the culture of self-invention. That my freedom determines value. I invent who I am. I determine what's good. And the avatars of that culture realize that the religious people stand athwart that view. We think there are objective goods, moral goods, spiritual goods that we ought to align our freedom with. And I think that came through a lot in the witness testimony. But it was a wonderful experience, and I think this commission accomplished a lot. So God bless you for drawing it into existence.
Thank you very much. Vince, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Our founders know and wrote that no government has the right to become between the citizen and a relationship with God. It's one of the most powerful forces in life, in anybody's life. I'd say 2 things about this report. One, it's a body of evidence. We took testimony, so people can judge for themselves what people said in this report. It's a body of evidence. And to violate religious liberty is self-destructive in 2 ways. One, religious people, religious organizations provide so much fruit for society, whether it's education, healthcare. To violate the beliefs of those organizations and the people that work there would be undermining for all citizens and the type of value they get from that. And secondly, the people that defend our freedom writ large are often religious people because they get a power from above. And so if you go after religious people, you're actually undermining the very foundations of a freedom and those who will protect it in this country.
But
so that's why this report
doesn't stop them.
No. Yes,
they make it worse. But we have a great defender right here, Todd. Go ahead. You're the one.
I'm ready. I mean, the most important part of what we did today, Mr. President, after a lot of hard work, is what...
All right, we're going to keep a close eye on this. We're going to go back when the president starts to answer some questions, but obviously a very important statement by witnesses about the importance of religious freedom.
A short amount of time, if they allege separation of church and state, that public official must in writing explain how that person has violated the Constitution. Because, again, the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. And from this day forward, if anyone says that to you, and they're in public office, or serve in any agency in any official capacity, they have to point out exactly where you have violated the Constitution, because you have not. And from this day forward, that phrase should have no power over people of all faiths ever again in America.
Thank you. Okay, how about a couple of quick questions?
Mr. President, on Iran, Mr. President, you said that Iran violated the ceasefire.
Yeah, they did.
Will they face any consequences?
Well, you'll find out.
Do you consider the ceasefire to still be in place?
We did today, Mr. President, after a lot of hard work, is what you just heard Dr. Carson and Lieutenant Governor talk about, which is the work we have left to do. So we're not here saying, we're done. Yeah. We're here saying there's a lot of work left to do. I'm excited to do my part at the Department of Justice. I know that the White House, we're going to do our part together. And so all the work that was done over the past 8 months sets us up for the next several years to make sure that we don't drop this and that this stays as important as it should be. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, John. Great job.
Mr. President, can I just say one last thing?
Yes, please.
On the issue of church and state, that was used as a hammer against almost all of our witnesses. One of the important...
So I had to go back because one of the feeds drops. That's why you're seeing this part over again. Sorry about that.
A superintendent of a school district, someone in the healthcare system, whoever uses that against someone who is simply standing up for their religious liberty or simply praying in public, that within a short amount of time, if they allege separation of church and state, that public official must in writing explain how that person has violated the Constitution. Because, again, the separation of church and state is not in the Constitution. And from this day forward, if anyone says that to you, and they're in public office or serve in any agency in any official capacity, they have to point out exactly where you have violated the Constitution, because you have not. And from this day forward, that phrase should have no power over people of all faiths ever again in America.
Thank you. Okay, how about a couple of quick questions?
Mr. President, on Iran, Mr. President, you said that Iran violated the ceasefire. Will they face any consequences?
You'll find out.
Do you consider the ceasefire to still be in place?
I don't like the fact that they took a shot yesterday, actually 4, we knocked down 3, at a ship. Not an allied ship, but a ship, a very expensive ship. And it was fine, but it took a little beating. They shouldn't be doing that, so you'll find out.
Will the U.S.
You'll find out.
Will the U.S. respond? What is your message to Iran?
Respond, you're going to find out.
Sir, why do you think they did that if the talks, you've said repeatedly they're going well? What do you think the motivation is for Iran in attacking a ship?
They're a little bit different. That's why I think of it, 47 years, no president did what we're doing. So you just asked a question, you'll find out. Okay, I think we had enough. This is so important, I want to have it stand on its own. These people are incredible patriots. They're people of great respect and religion. They're among the most respected people in our country, and I just want to thank Dan and Ben and Todd and Vince and everybody for Paula, always Paula, because she's been here from the beginning. We have a White House office now on faith. Nobody thought that was going to happen. Never happened before.
How will the findings of this commission change how the government operates going forward?
Well, we're going to sell it. We're going to sell some of the things that we have. We have some incredible recommendations, but a recommendation doesn't mean anything. This group can sell, and that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to bring religion back even stronger. You know, religion's it's been a tremendous resurgence in our country. I have not seen anything like it. I hate to joke, but if this were a stock, it'd be very rich, because it has gone up like a rocket ship over the last year and a half. And I'm very honored to be sitting here. Maybe I had something to do with it. But they've made some very strong recommendations, and now we have to convince people to adhere by those regulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Wow. Yeah, big event, all these people at the event, just, you have the opportunity to ask questions and you just completely ignore it. Just completely ignore it. Well, I didn't expect that at all. Hey, is SB there? Yeah. I haven't seen you all
I'm
day.
Here, man. I've been waiting for hours, man. I mean, I went to the pool, but you keep dragging me back in, man.
I'm like, I'm doing a commercial. I'm like, is that live? Is he really? Oh God!
Yes.
This guy
I was about to text you too. I was like,
he doesn't stop. Does not stop. Well, I'm glad I could say hello to you at the end here.
Hello, man.
You got anything news we can do before we close?
I have news, but it's probably old now. I mean, the one about I sent to you. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 3 up. Rubio was working today. Didn't you see he brokered a framework agreement for peace? I mean,
yes,
that's kind of big.
Yes, I did. I think I deleted it.
Nick Sotor.
I had it, and then hold on, let me find it again. Again, this media is complete crap. There it is.
Look at this.
Rubio brokered a framework agreement between Israel and Lebanon. What the hell is going on over there? I can't keep up. I want to see
Marco Polo.
I want to see these guys signing, because I'd love to see if they want to rip each other's heads off right there. So the guy in the middle,
not love there.
Yeah, the guy in the middle is United States, I think, and then the lady on the left is Lebanon, and the guy on the far right is Israel. And obviously,
the lady from Lebanon, she looks like the girl from NBC. What is that? What is that?
It looks like a hostage video.
Bingo.
You're going to get in here and you're going to sign this friggin' piece of paper or not, okay? Just sign. All right, so Lebanon and Israel, as of 4 o'clock, we got a peace deal with them. But who knows
We'll see
what'll
how
happen?
long.
What'll happen at 4:30? Because they may be
right.
because whatever he's going to do at this point, because we're going to find out something. Oh man, it just keeps going. And I love that event that he just had, the religious. You know that I can almost feel like the Exorcism movie, Linda Blair, and these people's heads just spinning, hearing him talk about God and Jesus and religious freedom. They can't take it. And notice he threw in there, I don't know if it's coincidental, but he threw in the communist. He's letting you know. He's letting people know, take it serious. These people, what they want to do, oh man, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. What else we got
Well, I
here?
had posted a clandestine thing, but that's 3 hours ago. So like, forget it. He spoke about the Communist Control Act of 1954.
All right, so this is really interesting. I didn't see this, but
okay.
I don't know. I don't know if this guy is tuned into my stuff or not. Let me show you, because this was what, 3 hours ago. Because you're gonna at 1 o'clock before I went on. You're gonna think that he's my alter ego, because I want to show you something. Let me bring it up. I'll bring up my own Twitter profile. Okay. You are really going to crack up. So in any event, where is he? Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm in Grok. I'm finding my history here, and I wanted to see if there's a timestamp on this. 1 second. All right, so I'm gonna bring this up. You're going to laugh heartily, no doubt, when you see this. Wait 1 second. 1 second. I'm bringing it in. I had been doing I had been doing some research on Grok. Right. And I'm looking to see if it gives a timestamp so you can see it. I'm scrolling. I don't see the timestamp, but here, let's see if you can see this. This was my that was my research earlier today. And I went, what is the Communist Control Act? Because I wanted to make sure if I brought it up that everything was in it. And I do a lot of research. I just don't come out here and spit. I do a lot of research. And it was so funny.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, you got all this stuff here. I'm looking for anyway. So anyway, I did have the timestamp there. So you're saying clandestine. I'm like, this is getting a little weird. I mean, it's getting really weird that I'm doing the exact same story and then he posts something. So let's look at this, because this is very, very interesting. So I read what the research is. Let me see if his research coincides what I have. It's the Communist Control Act of 1954 was passed into federal law. But first, before we get into it, let's talk about why this might be important. Because President Trump the other day came out and said, I've been waiting for this. I got something.
Right. You said that yesterday.
Yeah, and we all went like, what
He's
the hell?
He's been waiting.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. So what do you mean you've been waiting? Did you have a crystal ball? But I've been waiting for this. And so many of us probably wouldn't go, what could he be talking about? And that's where this came from. So the Communist Control Act was passed into federal law to combat the Communist Party of the United States. All right, now I got to stop again. So you got me all excited. All right.
All right. USA.
There was a lot going on yesterday in regards to things that President Trump are doing, and how is he able to codify things without Congress doing any work? And so somebody surmised that what President Trump was doing was coming up with executive orders that are basically the law as it is right now. He was just putting it back out in the forefront so everybody could see it. So this whole thing with that just got passed yesterday with the TPS, it wasn't a new executive order. He was just writing an executive order on an existing law, and so on. And he's been doing that. So they're saying, what's he going to do with these commies? Well, there may be an executive order coming based upon an existing law. It's already there. Gives him the grounds to do things. So that's setting that up. It says, the CPUSA was labeled an illegitimate party, the Communists of the United States. That was the arm of a foreign conspiracy seeking to overthrow the U.S. government. Sound familiar? Yes, it does. That's what we're witnessing right now with the Democrat Party in the present day. The DNC is no longer a legitimate U.S. political party. These are unlawful enemy combatants. So earlier, when I told you and I showed the video of the woman who wouldn't say she was a communist, the reason why I think they've played their hand, because socialists are different than communists. And by calling themselves democratic socialists, they are not basically putting on the banner of being communist, unless they come out and say it. That's when this would apply. So as it goes down here, it says, this is not a game. The Dems are quite literally enemies of the United States, trying to exterminate and replace the American people. And the only way this country prospers is if we expel this illegitimate party from our nation, exterminate the poison left-wing ideology from our society, and hold all the traitors to the fullest extent of the law. And he left out a part, because there's another part to, I don't know, I think I'm going too fast here. There's another part to that whole thing, which was in regards to, what is it? Hold on, let me show it to you. That makes it very technical in terms of what you can do. And it was based on here. So notice where it says, this is the same, he basically took the same thing. He probably asked Grok the same question. But what it relies on is something called, where is it? The Internal Security Act of 1950. We're really getting into the weeds here, people. I mean, we're digging deep into this, and this is where people like Clandestine and myself, and even SV, you got to dig deep in this to understand how the future proves everything. The Internal Security Act, one of the problems with there, and I asked the question, because I said, you can see here, it says, what is the Internal Security Act? And then down here, I ask a question. Could the Communist Control Act of 1954 be used to stop the socialist rise in America? And Grok says, no. The Communist Control Act could not effectively or constitutionally be used to, quote, and it quoted, stop the socialist rise in America. It is narrowly tailored to the Communist Party of the United States. So in that regard, watch the tap dance that they start doing. Even Bernie Sanders, AOC, they're not going to come out and say communist. I will doubt we will see anybody say the words communist, because somebody probably knows this law is on the books, which is why President Trump is calling them communist. He jumped the shark already.
Yeah.
All right. So he's doing the labeling in advance, because I'm sure his people have said, no, we can't use that law because they're just socialists. You following along there?
Oh, absolutely.
So now that you know, and everybody watching knows, we can't use the Communist Control Act because it's only for commies. It's not for socialists. It doesn't apply. That's how they wrote it. So, ergo, you hear the president talking today, and he made his speech, and then he came back on and did that thing, and he's prominently using the word communist. He's labeling them that. I want to see if they come out and say no.
He's got something else up his sleeve, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm feeling it.
Yeah. I really think he's putting them in a corner, and because he's got, for them to prove that they're not communists, it is what it is. Everything they're doing is about communists. Bernie's a commie. I mean, it's everything. So all I'm saying with this is, and I'm sorry you brought this up because I got way too deep in it.
No, this is awesome. People love it.
Is that the stuff is about to get deep, and it's about to get real deep. And you know, it's funny at the tail end of this show, you happen to bring that one up, because start looking at this stuff. Start looking at this stuff. Start reading up so you can see.
Do your homework, folks.
Yeah, he's starting to foretell that the president of the United States gets out there and starts saying communist. That's a big label to put on somebody. And he's accusing Americans. Well, they're not Americans, a couple of them. But here's the other part. These people eventually, they have to swear to the Constitution and allegiance to America.
The oath. Yes.
That's got it. They can't do it. They can't. How can you be considered an allegiant to America where at the same time you're saying I'm not going to comply with the Supreme Court? So,
well, the other thing is, going off on my tinfoil hat, is Cuba.
Yeah,
it's coming. No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's next. They are next. That's gonna be a news item very quickly. So
and then yeah, a lot of reading to do. It's funny.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
This is awesome.
Anyway,
Deep thinking, folks.
I think we have to, as a group and people on the right here, understand we are dealing with a formidable opponent that seeks to destroy your way of life. And some people, like the guy you threw out, they take it as a joke if you want. I'm doing the homework. I want to know where we're going, how we're going to get this done, and I want to alert people to it. So.
Hey Barry, just to give you info, I would certainly not want to get into a little brawl with you, man. You didn't miss the gym day. I mean, that guy says. When I read that, I go, right, whatever.
It's funny. Yeah, but I'm not going to go there. But it's funny.
All right.
All right. So anyway, thanks for hanging out and having like a little quick chat here because
thanks for having me on today.
He took up all the time. I thought I didn't. I looked at his schedule. I didn't even see that last thing even on his schedule. I mean, it just
it literally popped on my screen. I was just about to text you when you hit it up. I was like, oh, okay, you got it.
And then he's got something else tonight. I don't know what it is, but I mean, I'll go ahead and tape it so I can have it for tomorrow, so we can do that.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Just letting you know, I will be out till tomorrow evening. I got to go up to Northern Virginia pickleball stuff. So if there's something live, I might occasionally look in. But I'll see. No,
it'll be later. But I mean, you're driving all the way up there. I mean, how far you got to go?
2 hours. 2 hour drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good luck.
Morning.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Stay safe. Stay safe. All right, everybody. Let me do super chats and we can move on. Pekovsky, hello. How are you? It says yesterday I missed. You didn't miss it. You're still there. You can go ahead and click on the button and watch it. Happy Friday to you. Yes, thank you. Thank you. And this is from Jerome. Thank you. All those Mandami communists didn't take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution that they daily violate the core values of our Constitution, so they're in violation of their oath of office. Remove them, no Sharia law, it's not in Constitution. Wait a minute, I know you just didn't go off and then hit me up with a text afterwards. Was that you? Who was that? So SB just gave me a programming note that on July 4th, they'll be streaming from 1 to 11:30. Does that say like 11 hours? Oh my gosh. Yeah, we'll figure out something then. 11 hours. Starfleet, that's the word. That's the word I was looking for. What's it called? Tequiyaba, a broad mandated doctrine of deception intended to advance political goals. Look that word up. Thank you very much, Starfleet. That's the word I was trying to find that allows Islamists to go ahead and lie to you because it furthers their ability to do what they need to do. They're allowed. Can you imagine a religion that tells you it's okay to lie? Beyond all the other stuff that it actually tells you it is okay to deceive people if it allows us to get where we need to get to. Wow. Thank you very much for that. Groove Guy, Barry, you started kicking ass and taking names. Thank you. Trump is an absolute legend. He indeed is. Thank you. John, One Nation Under God and Republicans. I like that. Mary, our President Trump just made another great speech. He drilled down on that communism and what we need to do as patriots. Good listening. Good listening. Chiosop, these little communists sold out their family, culture, religion, honor, and soul for the purpose of gaining power through communism. It's deviant, isn't it? Very deviant. Mark, I see New York City eventually being Maduro'd. I think he's going to have to get him out of there. Definitely going to have to get him out of there somehow. Bielka, Barry, when is Trump going to rein in Mandami? He's mentioning it, so there's obviously a plan afoot. I think the thing you have to remember is Trump is a New Yorker. He's got too much invested in New York, way too much invested in New York for some little pissant to come in and cause a problem. And Kathy Hochul, I don't know if she's captured, but it's just we know it'd be very interesting. It'd be very interesting if one of the people who ends up taking down Mondami is Letitia James. Because she's like, this can't work here. There's a lot of people who haven't come out in public yet, but the ones who have are very prominent. You know, and she was one that came out and said, no, this ain't gonna work here. So that's very interesting. I see, I just said, Bielka, Stray Shot, Escape from New York, ring a bell, anyone? And Snake Plissken. The name's Plissken. Gloria, you are spot on, Barry. Thank you. 100%. Demon, can suspending habeas corpus be used against Mondami at this point? I don't think you really have to. I mean, the people of New York, they need another bite at the apple. So what I mean by that is the people of New York know full well that he violated their oath. And what he's doing right now, just like they tried to impeach President Trump, I think they have enough grounds to get him out of New York. Marcus, it is an intentional invasion, also known as treason. I agree with you there. Mr. Mike, Barry, do you think that Trump can stop the communist snakes from going city by city and taking over? It seems like they avenge every day an American other than spreading the word can't do much. What is the best thing we can do? Spread the word. Let people know in their little towns and burgs, wherever they are, be very careful. Understand what these people want to do. I think that's very important. Fazul, this means war commies. It sure does. Behavior proves it. They're still commies. Exactly. That's exactly what they are. All right, guys. I didn't know we were going to go this long. I have to go to an appointment. So I'm going to have to do a small, short after party tonight. I don't even know if I'm going to make it at this point. So we'll see. Let me go like 5 minutes here and see what we can do. Thank you.